Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling. Much appreciate you guys making some time for the video. And today we're going to talk about feathers on topwater poppers, which guys, poppers in my opinion are, if not, they're one of the best, if not the best topwater lures for summertime fishing. So there's applications that I use feathers and not feathers. So I want to go over that with you guys. I think it's going to help you guys get some more bites on topwater. And real quick, just want to remind everybody, anybody out there is interested in becoming a channel member, it's one of the greatest things you can do to help support the channel, what's going on, if you like the content. Channel members, they get like extra videos every week that aren't seen by the public, access to my personal email address, and all you have to do is just go to my YouTube homepage and you can click on Intuitive Memberships, or go to the About section on my YouTube homepage and hit Intuitive Memberships. Much appreciated. And also, please subscribe, man. We're getting close to 75,000 subscribers. Got a big giveaway with that, and your subscription would be much appreciated. Okay, guys, topwater poppers in the summertime. Here's it. Poppers have been around forever, but they're one of the most, I think, they're one of the most misunderstood and underutilized topwaters that there are, because a lot of people, since they've been around since the 30s, a lot of people don't give them the credit they deserve, but they are incredible bass catchers, and they catch just as many fish today as they ever have. The key on popper fishing is knowing when to throw it and how to work it based upon the conditions, and this is where the feathers come into play a little bit. First of all, before I get into the feathers, I want to talk a little bit about where you want to fish these poppers at. In the summertime of the year, or when that water is over 70 degrees, is the best time to fish a popper, usually from like June until October, that type of deal. The best areas for poppers that you're going to find is you got to key on shade for the most part. So that's why they always work better under low light conditions, early or late in the day, and that type of situation, especially if the water clarity is under 4 feet. Now there's some variations on poppers if it's clearer than 4 feet, we'll talk about. But if you got water visibility less than 4 feet, actually probably less than 3 feet, shade's really critical, simply because the best popper areas are shallow water. The poppers are not really designed to pull fish out of deeper water, like a walking topwater or wake bait or something like that. I like a popper when those fish are shallow. Normally less than 3 foot of water is my prime time for a popper. And when you have fish using that shallow water hitting a popper, that's why shade is so critical. So my favorite areas by far for poppers are riprap. Riprap and poppers go hand in hand, especially if you have a lake with docks on it that have riprap behind the docks. That's money, dam ripraps, bridge ripraps, whatever. Low light conditions and riprap are the best summertime places to fish it. It also works good around any type, if you got lakes with shallow grass, like some shallow gator grass, water willows, milfoil, works really good over that. Any type of shallow cover, stumps, docks, laydowns, it's just whatever shallow cover with shade is in the water. Now, if you've got water visibility over 4 feet, clear water, that's when you can cover water more. And that's when I like to fish more like the main lake and secondary points, flats, that type of stuff with it, when that water's a little bit clear, where those fish can come a greater distance. But to me, when I'm thinking popper, I'm thinking about terms of throwing that bait into like a little shade area that's maybe this big around, and trying to keep that bait in that shade area. So that's where the feathers come in here. We're talking about the feathers. The times, most of the time, guys, you got the feathered variation of a popper, and then you got the one, most poppers come with feathers, but I take them off under certain situations, and then the non-feathered ones. Most of the time, guys, I'm using a popper without a feather. I've experimented with it a lot, and I have not seen under the best popper water conditions that a feather makes any difference at all. I don't think it hurts anything, except that it will take away a little bit of your action. But I like to go without a feather if I'm fishing shallow water shade in that water clarity of less than 3 feet. And what I like to do in this is because of how I'm working this bait. It's like I'll throw this bait into those little shade pockets and I'll fish it slow. I'll bloop it and let all the ripples disappear. Then I'll bloop it again, let the ripples disappear. Maybe twitch it where that popper sort of goes sideways like a spook or something. and I'm trying to keep it in a small strike zone of the shade. That to me is the key deal. And when you have that situation, it just seems like the feather, when you have that feather laying across the water when it's sitting still, it's almost like the fish are spooked by that feather if they get too good of a look at it. So if I'm fishing a popper and I'm blooping it, letting it still, I don't want this feather hanging down. I think it telegraphs the bait too much and they don't bite it as good. So that's why I always take the feather off if I'm blooping it around shallow cover, like edge of grass beds, shade, stumps, laydowns, that type of stuff. I just get more bites on it. And also on top of that, you got a little bit better action because you don't have the feather weighs, especially when it gets wet, it weighs a little bit more, and it weights that tail down, doesn't give you the action. Most of the time I'm using 2 number 5 Gamakatsu G Finesse trebles on just standard size popper. Now, the time that I do use, like this Mega Bass Pop Max there, the time that I do use the popper is if I'm fishing the bait in the clear water and the open water and I'm moving a little bit faster. Because while the popper with no feather, I'm fishing it around shady areas and little tight corners and stuff like that, I'm fishing the popper with the feather trying to cover water, almost like with a walking topwater. So one of my favorite things to do for summertime fishing when I do have a feather is I get out on those main lake points in the clear water and I fish this thing fast. I'm just jerking it through the water, just chugging it, wanting it to spit water up as high as I can, because I'm trying to pull fish from a long distance away on these flats. I'm not concentrating around a piece of object or a shade pocket. I'm actually trying to draw the fish in that are roaming the flats and the points. And that's when the attractor of the feather comes into play a little bit more. It's dancing around back there. I'm not stopping it. And it seems like that will attract a few more fish under those conditions. But that's been my own personal experience with it, guys. I've spent lots of years fishing poppers, and it works for me. It works really good for me. Normally I'm fishing it on like 14-pound test, monofilament line, Mega Bass, the 110 jerkbait special rod. You want a pretty soft tip rod on it. And try it, man. They're great bass catchers in the summer. So anyway, thanks for tuning in to the tip. We'll talk later.